Good evening, everyone. I'm Mike Kenichi, and as you know, I've done different shows over the years: Hometown Heroes, In the Spotlight, Spoonie Scrapbook, Charlie's Coaching Corner. But we have a nice and exciting one for you because if you were around in the 70s, 80s, you know how big softball was in the Valley, and especially Kasden Fuel, who they just seem to dominate the softball leagues every year. And we come up with a new show. We think it's going to be really great. It's called When Softball in the Valley Was Big in the Valley. And two of our guests, they were longtime members of Kasden Fuel, of course, John DeFrancisco and Jack Walsh. And guys, I want to thank you for coming on. I think this is going to be so much fun.
It's going to be great.
It's a pleasure, Mike. Living in the past.
Yeah, definitely. But first thing I wanted to ask you both.
Way in the past.
Yeah, I know when I was a kid, I would go to my father's softball games. He played for like Ad Zima's funeral home. But was softball a thing when you guys were young kids, or did it not really grow until you were like into high school?
I think it was going through a transition. Softball years ago, if you talk to, well, we're the old timers now, but if you talk to the other earlier old timers, softball was fast pitch. Okay, and the Valley was a hotbed for fast pitch. It was all over the place. But I think we came along when there was a transition going from fast pitch to slow pitch, and we were kind of at the beginning of that.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, if it wasn't for Jackie and Jimmy Walsh, there would be no Kasden Fuel. They organized it. They ran it. Jackie played. He pitched. Jimmy wrote the lineup. He made the changes. And everybody listened to what he had to say. Because when you're coached by your peers, it really isn't easy. He did a great job. And so did Jackie. He got yelled at a few times by his brother, but that was
right.
Yeah, it was fun.
And Jack, let me ask you this. I know as you had gotten out of high school, I mean, never mind softball, but you guys had done flag football, you did, or touch football, whatever it was, obviously men's basketball. So, I mean, there was a lot of things for people your age out of high school that you could do. There were a lot of men's leagues. So, I mean, it wasn't just softball that started for you, correct?
No, you're right about that. It's kind of sad when you look around now. There don't seem to be that many opportunities for softball, basketball. We even had a volleyball team. We had the touch football. You didn't have as many distractions as you do today. I mean, people have all kinds of opportunities, and people have more money today than they did back then. So there are more ways to go. But in a way, it's sad because it was also a good way to stay in shape year round.
Right. And let me ask you, originally, when this thing got started, you guys weren't Kasden at the time. You were Dutchess, am I correct?
Well, let me backtrack. I'll give you a little bit of history how it started. The very first game that we played, we weren't even Dutchess back then. I'm not sure the exact year, but we were just, during the summer, we were sitting around talking. I said, hey, maybe we should play softball. Yep. We ended up playing in what was an end of the year Valley softball tournament. But we really didn't even know much about softball, to be honest with you. We had no uniforms, but we did get a sponsor. Daddy-O's Market was a local grocery store, and he agreed to pay an entry fee, and we entered the Valley postseason tournament. And the very first game we played was against Simonetti Cleaners. And Simonetti's was the best slow pitch softball team in the Valley at the time, and we didn't even know what we were doing. But, we got our heads handed to us, but it wasn't as bad as it could have been. We got beat 7-0. But I don't know what year that was. But then we started playing in the Derby softball league and the VIL. The first year that I actually have records for is 1966, and we were playing as the Derby Mets. We had no sponsor. It was kind of funny.
Right.
in order to make it work, we had to all chip in quarters every game for the umpires. And I think I told you, Mike, it was so crazy. The Mets, the real Mets, had a community sponsorship type of thing, where you could ask them for some softballs.
Wow.
We had a big box of softballs from the New York
You
Mets.
want to tell them that story? Holy Jesus. Softball we got from the Mets.
Well, hey, we didn't have any money. We didn't have any.
That's right.
So we did what we could. I think they gave us a dozen balls, and to be honest with you, they weren't ASA quality.
No, they were stitched all crooked and everything else.
Yeah, but hey,
Hey,
we did all right. That first year we were 27-19 that year, so that wasn't too bad. And the next year, a lot of us also worked for Duchess. Duchess Driving it open, and Bernie Lavin agreed to sponsor us, and we got a little bit better. And that year we were 29-18. I think we also played in the Valley Independent League.
yep.
That year. And then the next year is when things changed completely. Okay, the next year, 1968, that's the year we became Kasden. Okay, and that was completely different. Gene Fitzpatrick became our sponsor, and what a great guy he was. He was unbelievable. He's one of only two guys from Kasden in the ASA Hall of Fame as a sponsor. Just a great guy, and we started to turn things around, and we had a record of 50-16 that year. And we're still a young team. We had some real weaknesses, but I remember we lost out on an opportunity to go to the state tournament. We got our heads handed to us by Concordia Twisters.
Yeah.
Okay, in the playoffs. We were the VIL representative, and we had to play them in the playoffs, and they beat us 2 straight, and they hammered us pretty good. And
But we remembered that they hammered us pretty good.
Yeah,
Because we hammered them pretty good, too.
yeah, we did get it back later on. But I remember at the end of that year, well, kind of not at the end, but almost at the end, we were at the state tournament. John, myself, Rich Suba, and Jimmy sitting in the stands, and we said, "We're going to be here next year.
Yep.
We're going to be the Valley representative next year." And that's exactly what happened. The next year was the first really good Kasden team. We were able to pick up a couple of infielders that you would know of, Dave Barone and Eddie Glenn. And
did we get Freddie that year, too?
Freddie came the year before.
Okay.
But we still didn't have an infield. You have to be able to play defense. And we weren't that good on defense, quite honestly. But then we were. Okay. And that year, we surprised okay, in the playoffs. It was kind of funny. The Valley only got one representative to the state tournament at that time, and people would die to get that bid. Okay, and there was a playoff between the VIL and Valley Major League, and we were the VIL representative. And quite honestly, it wasn't looking too good. We hadn't been playing well at all. The day before the tournament or the playoff, we had been beaten by Klanko's Garage. Thanks to Klankos, but they really weren't a very good team. And they beat us. And then we went down to play in the State League in a game down in West Haven.
Yeah.
And we only got one hit. And the next day, the very next day, we had to play Jellos. And of course, it was a foregone conclusion that the Jellos was going to be the representative. They were considered the best team in the Valley going into the tournament. And sure enough, they scored 3 runs right off the bat in the first inning. And everything changed in the second inning. Maybe it was even the bottom of the first. Freddie Kumo hit a home run on the top of the field house.
Yeah.
The old Ryan Field. The field house wasn't that far away, but it was in right field. And he hit a home run. And that changed everything. And we beat him that day, and then we beat him the next day. And then we were the Valley representative of the state tournament.
Well, there was a big rivalry between the VIL and the Valley Major League.
Right.
So we were like, we started in the VIL and we stayed in the VIL.
Right.
We play on Sunday mornings against the wishes of some people on the team. We play on Sunday morning, and we played in the Valley Major League. So, we held true to tradition. Jackie and Jimmy wanted to do that. Mr. Fitz thought it was a good idea. So we played a lot of ball games, but we represented the VIL, and I was proud to do that. I thought that was really nice.
And if you recall, that very first year, we didn't play in the Valley. The year the Valley Major League was formed,
Yep.
we did not play in it. It was more because we really didn't like the idea that we were telling the rest of the teams in the Valley that you're not good enough to play in this league. So we decided we weren't going to play in the league.
Yeah.
We did the following year, and we wanted to play in it, but Valley softball was getting very big at that point in time. Things were changing quite a bit. Fast pitch was gone by then. It was sad. There were some really, really good fast pitch softball teams in the Valley, and some great pitchers, Mizan, Cornicini, players like Billy Hillock. I mean, so there were great fast pitch, but I think the pitchers killed fast pitch because you could be playing in right field and not see the ball for a week or two because the pitchers were so good.
Right.
So a lot of people started switching over to the slow pitch, and it changed. Before it might have been a bare game novelty for a lot of people, but it became very competitive very quickly.
And let me ask you, where, you talked about hitting the top of the field house at the old Ryan Field. Where were, especially in that first year, where did you guys play a lot of your games at?
We played a lot of games at Ryan. Okay.
Right.
No.
Ansonia,
Yeah, Nolan Field in Ansonia,
Charlton, Sunnyside,
Sunnyside in Shelton. Yeah, Seymour at what was it called?
French.
Yeah. No, not Frenchfield. No, not Frenchfield.
No.
By the Legion Pool. I forget the name of it, but that had this very short left field fence.
I like
Bungay, maybe.
What?
Bungay, maybe.
No, it was later. I'm just drawing a blank.
Presty, maybe. Yeah.
No, it's right by Legion Pool. What today is Legion Pool.
Right. And what would you say was like a hitter's friendly park in some of these places you played in?
Well, if you're a home run hitter, and I think you're a right-hander, you want to be playing that field in Seymour. If you're a lefty, you probably want to play at Ryan Field before they moved it. Those are two of the shortest fences around. And of course, we loved to play. We didn't have a lot of home run hitters, so we loved to play on open fields. We were a better team when there was no fence because we had a good infield and we had some outfielders that could run the ball.
Could run.
Yeah.
And you talked about that. You talked about that first year. Not so much the Kasden first year, but the team you put together, the Mets. Who were some of the players on that first ever team?
Oh, give me a second here, but that was Joe, John, Billy Ferreras, Louis Cesaroni, Silvio Manoffi, Charlie DeCenzo. Charlie came the second year.
Yeah. He stayed a long time too. He played a long time.
Oh yeah. And then we had a couple of guys that worked with Duchess, that Bernie asked us to bring on the team.
We had one guy who played. He had butterscotch shoelaces. Got rid of him real fast. We put Barone on him, and Barone had him crying by the second game. He never showed up. We had Tony Cook, who came to the games with glasses on, but he had no lenses in the glasses. And see, Jackie and Jimmy, more so Jimmy was when it was time to play. It was time to play. He said, "Get the glass, put your lenses on, put your right glasses on, or you won't play." So he thought he was fooling around. And I remember to this day, he didn't do it. Jimmy said, "Where you going? Get over here. Sit down. You're not playing." That was it. So he established himself as the coach. Nobody
Right.
else would. Nobody else would could run the team. Well,
Now,
Del
Jack.
tried to.
Now, Jack, did you pitch that first year? I know
He
you
was
pitched
good.
eventually, but did you pitch for that
No,
first year?
no, I did not. The first couple of years when we were the Derby Mets and we were Duchess, we had a guy by the name of Lenny Robinson.
Oh,
Lenny Robinson was a great athlete, but he was ambidextrous. Okay.
it was interesting.
Oh yeah, I forget which was which, but I think he pitched with his
Left-handed.
left hand, underhand, and then he switched the glove to his hand
And
and
throw it to the base.
he
Right
threw
hand.
the base with the right hand. You had to see it to believe it. And he was our pitcher for those 2 years, and then tragically he was killed in an automobile accident.
Yeah. On the Merritt Parkway.
Right, and then John was the pitcher. John was the main pitcher first. And I only started pitching when John got hurt.
Yeah, I hurt my knee pretty badly.
Yeah, and then
But Jackie was a tremendous fielder. Jackie could get anything that was near him. Not I. He
I was
did.
pretty good there. I couldn't hit with a lick.
Bull. He hit enough to play. He did really well.
Now,
was-
Jack, do you guys remember what like your starting lineup was for that first year? Like if you had to guess 1 through 9?
For that first year was Kasden.
Or even the Derby Mets. Yeah.
Was Hunter? I don't know if Hunt was.
No, Hunt didn't play in those years. I think, let's see, Lenny would have been the pitcher. Maybe Charlie was the catcher.
I don't know.
One of the
I was the catcher.
Ronnie Venanto was our first baseman.
Who?
Ronnie,
Venanto.
okay.
Right, Jack.
There was a guy by the name of Kevin Toolin was the shortstop.
Yes.
Billy Pereiras, I think, played second base. I played the outfield. Jimmy played the outfield. Barry McDermott was the third baseman.
Yeah.
Dick Tracy played some, and of course, when he played, he was the left center fielder. I don't know who I'm leaving
Was
out.
Kenny cool? Was Kenny there?
No, Kenny didn't come until 69 or 70. Okay.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. So I mean, it changed. I told you, I've got a list of.
And how'd you, not to cut you off, but how did you and Jimmy put this team together? Like, how did you like put it out there to friends that you were starting this softball team if they wanted to be on it? How did you get what you guys got?
You know, when it first started, it was just the guys in the neighborhood that were all friends.
Yeah.
We
We
played-
went to games and saw different guys play on different teams. And I remember Jackie and Jimmy and myself. You see, we like that guy. He fits in with us. Because you had to be a different breed of cat to play on Kasden, because Kasden wasn't the easiest team to play with. You had to have a sense of humor. You had to have a thick skin. You know, Jimmy was the boss. That's it. You don't like it? Go home. It's real simple.
Well, I laugh all the time. You know, guys who've moaned and groaned about the uniforms and, you know, whatnot. Look, I'm not going to kid you. We played to win.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, once the game started, we were playing to win. And don't apologize for that, because that's why you keep score. But even though all the guys who moaned and groaned about it, we had an enormous number of guys who played for Kasden who went on to be high school baseball,
Yeah.
basketball, and football coaches throughout the valley. And every one of them, when they got to be head coaches, they were as big a stickler on rules as they were on Kasden.
Absolutely.
So I
Yeah.
think. Go
Paul
ahead.
Spanheimer told me the story that when he became a head coach at Seymour, it was his years playing at Kasden that he made it a rule, like, you know, you don't wear anything but what the coaches give you for the Seymour, you know, colors, whether it be a Seymour t-shirt, shorts, whatever it is, that's what you wear. You do not wear anything else. And he said that all stemmed from the rules for Kasden. He felt like that was the right way to do it, and he implemented it when he became Seymour's coach.
Yeah.
Some people question, why are you being so tough? It's just softball. But they were missing the point. Okay? We had a great sponsor. Kasden was a great sponsor. Okay? They paid for all of our stuff. Okay? All these uniforms and whatnot. Well, why would you not wear it if they pay for it?
They provided, yeah.
Okay?
Right.
And you're representing them, just like when you play for a high school team, you're representing the school and the town. So, we were sticklers on that. And Dave Verone came up with the solution because we had a lot of uniforms, but Dave always had trouble. What are we wearing today? So he kept everything in the trunk of his car. So whatever we were wearing, he would have it in the trunk of his car. But you owe it to your sponsor. Okay, our sponsor wasn't a restaurant or a tavern, so you weren't going to be able to go back and support them
Right.
by buying drinks and that kind of thing. So we had to do it in other ways. And at the same time, quite honestly, I think we're the best dressed team in this
Absolutely.
valley. Maybe
No question.
we always looked like we knew what we were doing, even if we didn't.
And Jack and John, how many sets of uniforms did they give you for the season? Was it
5
uniform or,
Well, eventually it built up to about 5.
Yeah. We
I
had
think 5.
different colors. So, we had these, we had a gray one, we had a red one, we had a blue one.
Then we had the other one.
Yeah, the original ones.
Yeah. So like there's 4 or 5 right there.
Yeah, and then we had pinstripe pants originally.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we went on a couple trips during the course of the summer, and you had to pack one bag for your uniforms, and the other bag you throw a couple pairs of shorts in, a couple t-shirts, a couple socks, and that was it. Because we drove and we had to get our bags in there. Everybody had to wear the right uniform. You don't wear the right uniform, you don't play.
And I'm fascinated, guys, about the amount of games you guys played. Jack, you were talking about that first season when it was the Derby Mets, and that's 46 games you played that year. And I mean, there had to be some double headers. Am I right?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, there were a lot of double headers, but that was nothing. One year, let me say, the most games we ever played in a year in 1971. Well, 70 and 71. 70 we were 84 and 32, and 72, 71 we were 87 and 25. 3 years in a row we played over 100.
Yeah.
Okay,
I remember I had 119 hits one year. The stats came on. I looked, I said, holy smokes.
Not,
Got over 230 times. I mean, it was unbelievable.
it's crazy to think about that. I was saying to Jack, John, off here today that I'm amazed because you guys have personal lives. You work like everybody else. And I said to him, I don't know how you were able to do this and maintain your everyday life. And he joked and said, I don't know how I did it either. But I mean, it did take up a lot of your time if you think about it.
But we were younger. When you're young, you don't think about it as much. The excitement of doing it.
We had some crazy guys too. So like if their wives didn't like it, they left. So it's either going to be, do I want to play for Kasden or do I want to stay married? You guys took the second route. They didn't want to be married. They wanted to stay with.
And Jack, did you guys play from say April to October? I mean, how long did it go for?
Generally, it would start, as early in April as you could. I think the earliest we ever played a game was April 8th.
Yeah.
The only reason I remember that is because it was a night game in a tournament in Wallingford. and the wind had to be blowing 30 miles per hour. It was so cold. I mean,
Yep.
we beat Silver Dolly that day. Remember, John? But that was
Yes.
cold as I recall. And Jolly, it was after the state tournament, the season was pretty much over. A lot of years we'd play in a Labor Day tournament, and then other than that, there might be a makeup game here or two or a tournament, but the leagues were all over by Labor Day pretty much.
Yeah.
Uh,
But we had some.
I think it was.
I'll give you
Go
a
ahead,
good
Jeff.
example about how much people wanted to play. Charlie got married. He went on his honeymoon. We were playing in York, Pennsylvania, I think. Right, Twin?
Wow, that's
yeah,
Right, Jack? We're
yeah.
in York. All of a sudden, I'm sleeping with Jackie and Jimmy. We hear this knock on the door. Hey guys, it was Charlie. He came home from his honeymoon, drove to Pennsylvania, and played in the tournament. And that's how serious we were about wanting to win and wanting to participate, and the camaraderie. I don't think we. I don't think any. I don't think any two people had harsh words towards each other. We kidded around a little bit, but never, never. When Jimmy said this is what we're doing, we did it. He said you're not batting, you're not batting. You pitch in, you're out. Jimmy Jackie's in. We got to pitch. Take a seat. Or I was like the pinch hitter, so I said, "Well, I don't really want to come for the whole game. Why don't I show up in the sixth inning, bat, get a hit, and then go home?" He says, "You can do whatever you want, but
That's very true. I wasn't a hitter and John wasn't a fielder,
no,
so it worked out pretty well.
no, yeah, we."
You know what
What worked out real well is that we were like best friends.
Yeah,
There's
John,
no
you talked,
animosity, no jealousy,
right.
nothing.
John, you talked about there was no hardships or anything
No.
like that. But what I always find interesting is the fact that now back then too, you could just take the football part of it. Derby and Ansonia, they had a big rivalry. I mean, back then, fans didn't really like fans of either town because it was a big rivalry.
Yeah.
But yet, you guys had guys like Jack Hunt, Jimmy Delavope, Paul
Bro,
Sponheimer from Seymour. And what Jack Hunt used to always tell me, and I don't think he would ever say something that wasn't true, is that never once was football brought
Nope.
up during these softball games.
and Charlie and Jack were the head coaches. Charlie and Derby, Jack and Ansonia. We never talked about Ansonia Derby football. I can honestly say that was never right, Jack.
that's
That was
that,
never
that's
a
true.
problem.
It was one of the few places where guys from Ansonia and Derby actually talked to each other and got
Yeah.
along because we knew the limits.
Yeah, we just kind of like meshed together, and it was good because I got to see a part of Jack that I didn't know, and so did Charlie, and even with Dell, as crazy as he was, but
And now, Jack, let me ask you,
go.
did you and Jimmy do all the stats for these teams? I mean, how did the stats get kept?
Well, yeah, we did the stat. Well, first of all, we had a dedicated scorekeeper, okay, who was very tough on a few of us. His name was Rich Zuba.
Ooh,
Rich wasn't really a player at all. He was a pretty good football player at Derby High School, but
yes, he was.
he was not a softball player, and he was our scorekeeper. Unless there was an emergency. If there was an emergency, he had to play. And I'll give you a funny story about that in a minute. But he kept the books. So at the end of the game, we would just take what he did and then compile the statistics. There were no computers back then, so everything was done by hand. So it was kind of pain in the neck to do the stats. But we do have, some very good stats from that
Oh
time.
yeah,
I'll give you a funny story about Rich. And John, I don't know if you remember this one, but it was postseason. We were playing.
yes.
I forget where it was, Southbury or no,
Well,
Southington, and we were playing in a tournament, and we didn't have a full team. and the game got postponed, and we had to go back
Yes.
the following week to play. Okay, and because we didn't have enough guys, Zook had to bat. Okay, he had to bat, and he was up at the plate, and you know, the count went to 3-2 on him.
This
And
is
the pitch was straight down the middle, strike three, you're out. And everybody was, why did you swing? Why did you swing? And he said, listen, look at the odds.
yeah.
If I don't swing, there's a 50-50 chance I might get a ball. And if I do swing, the chance of me getting a hit are a lot less. And we all across said, yeah, you're right. That's true. But we did come back and win the game. So
Yeah.
funny. But he was a great guy, died much too soon. Much too soon.
Yeah, he was really a good.
Big loss. Big loss.
Now let me ask you. Yeah, let me ask you this. Do you remember the longest winning streak that you had in a season, if you had to guess?
Yeah. Yeah, our longest winning streak was about 32 games, I believe.
Yep.
Okay.
Which is just
Up in
amazing.
the 30s.
It was in the 30s. It was the year that I think Spoonie coached that year. It was the year that we won the Central Division of the state
Yeah.
playoffs. I think it was 30, either 32 or 34. Now, if you ask me what the longest losing streak is, I have no idea. I don't think we ever lost more than
3 or 4 games.
You know, we had our overall winning percentage was 73% for all the years we played. That's a lot of games too. That's that was 1,300 games, almost 1,400 games. Well, but we had a blast. But and I don't want to make this just all about Kasden. There were a lot of really good players and a lot of
Sure.
teams
Yeah.
in the valley. And we also played around the state. Well, actually, we played in tournaments from Maine to Virginia.
Yeah.
The Valley had so many good teams, and it was so competitive. That's how the Valley went from, we only had one representative in the state tournament, and eventually we ended up with 5 to be able to go because, first of all, we had so many good teams, and it was very competitive and almost cutthroat to get there. But when Valley teams got to the Ray Bustos, Valley people went and watched the games. So we provided some money for the ASA as well. But there are a lot of good teams. Maybe another episode we can talk about some of them, but there were, a lot of really, really good players and really good
And
teams.
there were a lot of people who watched the games.
Yeah.
They used to stand up along the sidelines, Yeah.
You talk about great teams, and I knew how good Ernie DeStacy was, and I know he played for those Sikorsky teams that were great for so many years. Did you guys ever go up against Sikorsky, or did it not?
Oh, yeah. We played him in a tournament.
Ernie played with us when he came back from the leagues. Okay. Ernie only played 2 seasons with us before he got the job at Sikorsky's, and then he played with them. But Ernie's distinction with Kaz, and he's the only guy that ever batted 600 in a season. So he had the highest batting average, but he didn't have the most home runs. The most home runs anybody hit in a season, and it wasn't Freddie Kumo.
Kenny Koyansky.
Kenny Koyansky had 55 home runs one year.
Yeah.
Wow. Jeez, man.
Yeah.
Well, like Ernie looked at softball as like fun. To us, it was like the game. Like he just did it. He just walked up, hit the ball, ran the first, ran the second. But like we took it like it was really meaningful. So and I used to look at him and say, geez, I wish I could be like that. And just walk up to the plate, say, okay, throw it over here, I'll hit it over there. I'll get a base hit. But
now I know in the 80s, for slow pitch softball, if you wanted to intentionally walk somebody, you just told the umpire, I'm going to put him at first. Did you guys have intentional walks when you guys played, or?
That only came at the end.
Yeah.
We went through several transitions. I'd say in the early years it was just building a team. Then in the early '70s, we're a pretty good team. No, we were a very good team. And then we had a lull. We had one very bad year. Okay, 1978.
When was it, Jack?
1978, we were only 37-35. Two games.
Is that right?
Yep, it was the worst team we ever had. But we bounced back the next year, 61-18, and then we were good. And we went through cycles of players on the team too. As I said, early on we didn't have a shortstop or a second baseman. Then we got to be very good. Some guys left and retired. Then we had a second surge, and the third surge came at the very end. And in all honesty, I was coaching at Shelton then, so I didn't play those last couple of years. But those teams were very good too. Didn't play as many games, but they were very good too. And different stages. We had guys from Ansonia, Derby, Shelton, Seymour. The last cycle was a lot of the guys from Seymour that came over.
Yeah.
So, and Freddie Kershaw ended up coaching that group at the end, and Spoonie had coached before that. So, it's kind of amazing to be able to keep a team together.
Yeah.
That
It was a mix of people.
Yeah.
A lot of different personalities.
Yeah.
We just made it work.
And, it wasn't like, again, where you had a restaurant where you were supporting, where you go back after the game for that. We didn't have that kind of thing. So it was quite a record. And, we made the tournament. After we made it every single year.
Yeah.
I don't know how many years that would have been, 15, 16 years in a row.
Yeah.
And generally we did.
And now how many innings did you guys play a game?
7.
There were 7.
Yeah.
But let me tell you this. We played in the longest game in ASA softball history.
Is that right?
We played I don't know if it was 13 or 14 inning game. I forget, because we played one game in a tournament in Brantford that was either 13 or 14, and one game in the state tournament. We played a team called Silco.
Yes.
In the tournament. And that one went, again, I don't know if it was 13 or 14, but that, as far as I know, that's still the longest game ever played
Yeah.
in the state tournament. Okay. And the one in Brantford will always be known. I call it the Mark Fitzpatrick game, because Mark Fitzpatrick broke his ankle.
Exactly.
Okay. Probably in the 6th or 7th inning, and played the entire rest of the game on a broken ankle.
Oh
Yep.
my God! Wow.
Yeah. But generally, games were 7. There weren't too many games that went extra innings. But those two, I mean, those were by far the exception. By far.
And Jack, when you had so many people on the team, like you said, John talked about how he would pitch hit a lot. How did you manage to find people to make sure that rotated, like somebody would play 2 or 3 innings? How did it work in that situation?
Let me just hang on just a second. I'll call you back. Okay. Well, that was part of the reason for playing so many games.
Yeah.
Okay, we played in the VIL, and to be fair, the competition in the VIL wasn't as tough, so everybody would get playing time there.
Everybody got a chance to play. Yeah.
Played in the VMSL, and we played in the state league. So, we played enough games where people were going to play.
Right. And it seems like, to me, nobody got annoyed by the amount of playing time they got. It seemed like they all wanted to win. Like, I love the story that I heard about Barry when you guys went and played a tournament and you came in second place and he threw the trophy in the garbage and somebody had to go back and retrieve it. So, I mean, it sounds like to me, this group, they were just unselfish. They wanted to win more than anything.
Yeah.
I'd say that's true. I don't think anybody cared who got individual awards. I think, you play to win. And Barry was definitely the exception, the extreme on that. Almost got us in a lot of trouble. I mean, they wanted us to apologize and everything else. Of course, we weren't going to apologize. I mean, that's the way Barry felt about it. If he did first place on it, he didn't care for it. So I mean, that was certainly his right. Maybe he shouldn't have done it so publicly, throwing it in there. But you had to respect Barry. He played
That's
hard.
how he was in high school too. Played football. If he didn't like something, he let you know about it.
Yeah,
He let you know about it. So, Mac was a good guy. I liked him very much.
yeah. We
Right.
lost much too soon. Much too soon.
Yes.
And guys, who were, you talked about some great teams. Who would you say was like the team that you guys saw in your schedule and said, this is the team we want to beat more than anybody else? Was there a
Preston
rival at all?
Machine.
Oh, it was always Preston. Yeah. When it
Preston.
started, it was beating the Joels. And then once we beat the Joels, then it was.
We hated Preston
Yeah.
with a passion.
And who were some of the guys on some of those teams that, I know Bill Pucci, wasn't he on Preston? He would always talk about that, I think.
Well, he might have said he was on Preston. He never played.
Yeah.
Good enough.
He played a little bit. He played on the Joels as well. Frank Olszewski, Joe Keenan, John Brown, Ken Hannessy. They had a number of guys from Naugatuck.
Joe Zarnecki.
Joe Zarnecki was a great player. Donnie Ragazine, as far as I'm concerned, was the best guy we ever played against.
Who was that? Oh, Jack.
Donnie Ragazine.
Oh, Donnie Ragazine.
Yeah.
And they had Mike, too.
Yeah.
Mike was on the team, right?
Yeah. Mike Ragazine was on, too. They were loaded. John Crotty, who could hit a ball from here to New Haven. He was bigger than Jack Hunt. He could really. I remember he hit a ball against me at Nolan Field.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was going to land on the baseball field because it started out so foul, and it did land on the pitcher's mound on the baseball field at the entire other end of Nolan Field, and it was a fair ball. Yeah, they had a great team. They had a lot of good players, and that lasted for years.
And I think about this too. The DH in Major League Baseball and the American League didn't come out till 1973. So let me ask you, as time went on and you played in these softball leagues, did you guys eventually use a designated hitter, or did that happen later?
Yeah, we used it, but different than in baseball. Correct me if I'm wrong, John. The DH was an extra batter.
Yes, you had a bat. He was an extra hitter.
Yeah, it wasn't a replacement for 9. It was a 10th batter in the lineup.
Right. So he, 10 people batted instead of 9. We used it a lot of times,
Oh, we did it all the time. You'd be in a if you had a guy that wasn't a great fielder but could hit home runs.
Yeah.
You would use him. Of course, years later there were so many home runs, but after you hit a certain number of home runs, you had another one, it was an out. Now we were out of it by then. We had stopped playing, but
yes,
that kind of to me ruined the game. I mean, how can you hit a home run and it's an out because you hit too many home runs? But that's how the game changed during the course of 2 years we were playing. When we first started playing, when you go to the state tournament at Ray Bessos, if you could hit it out at Ray Bessos, you were a god.
Yeah.
By the time we were done, small second basemen were hitting out because of the bats and the balls. I often joke, the bats started getting $400 for titanium, and for that price, it should hit. You shouldn't even have to swing.
It's unbelievable.
Right.
A lot of changes during the years that we played. And, again, it's sad. You drive around now and
there's nothing there.
Yeah.
It's a shame.
Back then, they had to build new fields because there were so many teams, including the girls. And there's no girls softball either.
Yeah.
No. When I coached football, sometimes you had to park my car up by the softball field. And I get in my car, but before I got in, I peeked through the fence and memories would flash by me. And I used to say, God, I remember when this place was packed. I remember this game. I remember doing this. I remember doing that. I would just One guy didn't know what the hell I was doing. He said, "You all right there?" I said, "Yeah." I just relived old thoughts. He said, "Oh, okay." But I tell you, really, I enjoyed coaching baseball. I enjoyed coaching football. But the most fun I had with the bunch of guys was playing for Kasden Fuel. It was just great. I mean, I never, ever, ever went home disgusted. I always enjoyed myself.
And I think that was the thing too. You made a lot of friends there,
Oh
and the
yeah.
friendships that developed. You can't put a price tag on that. Guys, we're gonna be doing this a lot. It's gonna be a lot of fun, and I wanted to do tonight's episode, kind of giving people an idea of how it originated and things like that. But I think what's really gonna be fun on the next installment that we do is we're gonna touch on some of these great seasons. You guys played a million years, so there's a lot of seasons to touch on, and I just think it's going to be very
Well, look
enjoyable.
at us. We played a lot of years.
So I thank you both for coming on tonight, and we're just getting started. This is going to be great, and I'll see you both, and hopefully we'll have a couple more surprises. And that's what I really want to do, is be able to track down some of these players and have them come on for an episode. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. But thank you for the first episode tonight, where you kind of gave people an idea of how it all began, and I look forward to doing this more and more.
Thanks a lot, Mike.
I want to just tell you, Mike, I've told you this a billion times when you've had me on your radio show. You're the best. You'll always be the best. And I don't mind doing anything for you. You're okay.
Well, thank you.
Talking about time, I don't know how you do all the things that you do.
I don't know what he does. I don't know how he does. I don't think he sleeps.
Well, you guys once did this as well. So you know what? We have people that we have to kind of emulate, and I'm just, following your lead. I really appreciate both of you.
You've given back 100-fold, baby.
Absolutely.
Well, there you have it, folks. We're going to be doing a lot of this. This was the first, like I said, installment, and it was when softball in the Valley was great, and we look forward to doing this again. For Jack Walsh, John DeFrancisco, I'm Mike Kenichi saying good night, everyone.
Take care.
Bye.